that was terrifying. Hi everyone, it is April from Getting Hookah With It. Today I'm here to do my second half of my September wrap up. I did another video of what I had read in September. I'll link that in the description box below. But in this video, I'm talking about what I read in the second half of September. It wasn't a lot, but some of these books were quite big. So I want to dive right in. We're going to start with the 5-star. We start high and work our way down and get increasingly grumpy as we go. That's just how we do it on my channel. But let's start out on a high. So the 5-star that I read in September, second half, is The Chestnut Man. I loved this book. It is such a wild ride. This is a detective book. I'm doing well with detective books, guys, and it makes me so happy. Now, I don't know if this is the start of a series. I think it was written as a standalone, but I'm not going to spoil the end, but it could go on. It could go on to a certain extent, veering into another direction. I will say, like, things are solved in here, so it's not that kind of open ending, but so this author wrote a series, a TV series called The Killing, and if you haven't watched The Killing yet, this is the perfect time of year to watch The Killing. It is very dark and gritty, and it's about a couple of detectives trying to solve all of these crimes, and that's basically what this book is as well. So in this book we follow a group of detectives trying to figure out what is going on in Copenhagen. There is a psychopath who is murdering people, and it is disgusting. The way that he is murdering people, particularly women, is so gross that this honestly reminded me a lot of Pretty Girls in terms of, like, the descriptions of the killings makes you want to not eat anything when you're reading this. You kind of are going, like, if you're not making the face while you're reading it, I would just be surprised. I would be very surprised. You have a stronger stomach than I do, because it was gross. This is not for the faint of heart at all. So this serial killer is killing these people, and he's leaving these little chestnut men behind. So in Denmark, or is it Denmark? I can't remember. In this area, they would actually do this. Like, this is a common thing that at this time of year, kids make little chestnut men. It's like a little craft that they do, which is kind of cute. And this book makes it not so cute. So he leaves these chestnut men behind at every crime scene. Now, at the first crime scene, the detectives and examiners realize that there is a chestnut man, and they pick it up and they get it tested, like they're testing everything. And there's a fingerprint found on it, and the fingerprint is of a girl who had gone missing and was thought of to be dead, I think last year. Now, this girl is the daughter of a very big political figure. And so there's also this mystery of this girl. Is she alive? Is she dead? How is this killer getting her fingerprints and putting them on all of these chestnut men? It was so great, so fast-paced, so easy to flip the pages. I absolutely loved it. It really did feel like you were watching a detective series. And P.S., this is going to be turned into a series on Netflix, which I can't wait for. I just loved it. I loved it. I really hope that he writes more. that would be wonderful if he does, because this was, I think, his first book. But oh my gosh, so much fun. Okay, now we'll get to the 4-star read that I read. And that is Stamped from the Beginning, The Definitive History of Racist Ideas in America. This was kindly sent to me by Cara, who is the sweetest woman. I was so grateful to get this. Now, I feel like over time, I could see myself actually bumping the star rating up to 5. I listened to it on audio, mostly because when I got it, I was like, oh, it's so big. It's like 500 pages and it is dense. It is like a history book. It is like what every history book in America should include, but doesn't seem to include, which is about racist ideas and racism and how it's perpetuated through American history. So I listened to it on audiobook because I was just scared, if I'm being honest, of reading this dense book all on its own. And I thought, oh, I think it would be more easily digestible if I listened to it. And don't get me wrong, the narrator was wonderful. He was wonderful. I really enjoyed him. But in a lot of ways, this book requires you to sit down, like get your highlighter out and sit down with it. It's going to be something that you unpack for the long haul. Maybe I should have tried to read it over the course of like a couple of months or something and just gone slower through it. Because I feel like I missed some things every once in a while. But it is so fascinating. He takes, I think it's 5 figures from American history and examines racism through their experiences, through their lives. And what was so neat to me was how often there would be these figures, like big figures, like Abraham Lincoln, who we all think of so fondly. And in many ways, we should think of him fondly. But they take all of these big figures who seem so forward thinking and that changed America for the better. And he sits you down and goes, okay, so yes, Abraham Lincoln did have some really great things that he fought for, but he was also, he also had racist ideas. He also thought of, we'll free the slaves and then we'll just like send them somewhere else. Just what? There were so many what moments for me reading this. I was so appalled so much of the time reading this. Just the stupid thoughts that so many people had. Like they used to think that the more, I think it was the more north you would go, you could actually change Black people's skin colors from black to white. And it was just dumb. And the science behind so much of the racist ideas were so dumb and so frustrating. But you can also see as you go on how some of the racist ideas that were created in let's say the early 20th century, how that has trickled down into even now some of the racist thoughts that are perpetuated stem from so long ago. It really was wonderful. I really do think that this will likely go up in star rating as time passes, because I think about this book a lot. I so highly recommend this. You really should read it. So I read that. And then the next one is a 3-star read. So I don't have any 2-star reads or 1-star reads. So that's good. So the next one is a 3-star read. It is a nonfiction book, a memoir called Lady in Waiting, My Extraordinary Life in the Shadow of the Crown. And this woman, I think her first name is Anne, she was a lady in waiting for Princess Margaret, who I think is most people's kind of favorite royal character. She was so independent thinking. I really kind of enjoy finding out about her life, that's for sure. And this is about how Anne, got to know Margaret. They actually knew each other in childhood and were childhood friends. And then you follow her life being asked to be lady in waiting. She was at Queen Elizabeth when she was crowned. She was there and witnessed it all. And it was very interesting also about her own personal life. Like, yes, she talks about being a lady in waiting and her relationship with the royal family. I will say you're not going to get any like really juicy gossip or anything in here. Like, she really admires the queen. She really admired Margaret. Like, she's very much still friends with that family. So you're not going to get like bad stuff written in here in any way, shape, or form. But she also talks about her personal life. She had a husband who was rather angry a lot of the time, and she kind of had to deal with his anger and couldn't leave him. Like, it was, they were married, they were in it for life, and it was rather difficult for her. And her children had a really hard time individually. A lot of her sons struggled, and so you hear about all of that. And I did enjoy that. I listened to it on audio, which was a real treat because she narrates it herself, and she's British and she's older now. I think she's in her late 80s or early 90s. And I really just loved listening to her accent. That said, I did have to dock it a couple of stars because it was really clear how out of touch she was with reality. Like, she would talk a lot about how, like, oh, she didn't, get any special treatment with certain things. Like, in one case, her son is in a motorcycle accident, and she called Princess Margaret for help, and Princess Margaret, like, got her in touch with the right people. She's like, but it wasn't special treatment. And I was like, but that is special treatment, that you were able to find the right doctor who would take you right away. And like, understandably, if I was in her position and I had those strings, those attachments to power, in that situation, 100% I would use it too. But there's a lot of moments where she thought she was like kind of regular, and she wasn't. Like, the ladies in waiting for royalty are usually very well off themselves and come from prestigious families themselves. So I struggled with that stuff. And then also, I really struggled with a lot of the, honestly, it felt like racism. I'm pretty sure that there were a lot of racist moments in here when she would go traveling. Like, her husband bought an island, and there's this one scene where she's talking about how she had the locals dress up. She was like, I dressed them up in blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what outfit, but it was like she was treating them like dolls. They're human freaking beings. There were a lot of those kinds of moments, like traveling and kind of like making fun of people's customs. So yeah, I docked a couple of stars for sure about that, because it was uncomfortable. And you can tell she's like a 90 or 80 something year old woman who just thinks that's like, oh, I've got a little funny story for you. Not so funny to me. So there's that. I will tell you what I am reading right now. I am reading Americana with my Patreon group. This was the September pick. I had a lot of personal stuff that happened in September, end of September, when I was planning on like racing through and just enjoying, and then life. So I'm a little late, but I am basically vlogging my way through it, which is really nice to do. I love doing that. And then we're going to discuss it in my Patreon group. So I am reading Americana right now, which is about two Nigerian people who are in love, but they do have to leave Nigeria because of, I believe, civil war. Now they leave, and one of them goes to the UK and the other goes to the US, and it is about being Black in the US and the UK. And I'm at the very beginning, to be honest. I'm only like 50 pages in, and this is a beast. It's like over 500 pages. So I'm hoping to make a real dent in this in over the weekend, I should say. So I'm reading this, and then I'm listening to Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. I think that's her name. This is a thriller, and this is about a woman who loses her son. Her son is kidnapped quite suddenly. Now, the trail goes cold. The police don't really know what to do with it, and they kind of stop working on this case. Now, she, of course, doesn't want to give up on her son. Totally understandable. So she hires a private investigator to look into it. Now, doesn't the private investigator actually discover that her husband, who was like, I think her high school sweetheart, like they were very happily married until their son disappeared, and then things started to deteriorate in their marriage. They find out that her husband is having an affair. She is extremely upset, and she starts looking into this, other woman, and discovers that this other woman might actually know where her son is, and discovers that maybe her husband does too, and has to, all this time. It's I'm at the very beginning of that one as well, and I'm enjoying it so far. I need a little thriller action at this moment because it's, October, and I need creepy things right now. So that's what I'm reading at this moment, and what I read in September. Let me know in the comments below, what was the best book that you read in September, and what are you reading right now? I hope you're reading something good and spooky. I'll talk with you guys soon. Bye.